What's up, people of YouTube? F-Man Critic back and... That's right, I finally did it. I got 1,000 subscribers. Oh my god. And it only felt like yesterday I was given a plat for 500 subscribers. Now, I got 1,000, meaning that things on this channel are finally going to get real. Anyway, I also want to tell you I've opened a Patreon, but it's not going to be in the link in the video, so, yeah, I don't really know how to run that thing real, you know, so when I do figure out how to properly run it, you know, all my future videos will have a link in the description. The reason why this video took so long is because, as well, let's just say I just couldn't really properly think of what to say in this video. But now I do, okay? Something awesome is happening on Netflix today. The newest SpongeBob SquarePants movie is coming out, and I thought to celebrate, we review all three of the SpongeBob SquarePants movies, from the original to Sponge Out of Water to Sponge on the Run. You know, fun fact actually, when Sponge on the Run was coming out, I actually originally did do SpongeBob SquarePants, but it got taken down because I had Ocean Man playing in the background. Not making that mistake again. And so let's see if these movies still hold up. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And if you're wondering why the iPad seems a bit short and I seem a bit taller, I'm using a new chair. Just using something. I'm just experimenting right now, okay? Hey, the chair may or may not be temporary, alright? Let's just see how well I get with this thing. Anyway, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, you see, the movie starts off with pirates getting buried treasure, which is just the premiere of the SpongeBob movie. And that's basically a joke in the movie. It's kind of like Lion King 1.5, instead of Timon and Pumbaa watching the movie, instead it's a bunch of pirates. SpongeBob's having a dream about him putting cheese on a Krabby Patty, and he wakes up from it, and he thinks he's going to be the manager of the Krusty Krab 2. And what is the Krusty Krab 2? And why did Mr. Krabs make it? Money. And do we ever see the Krusty Krab 2? No, we don't. You know? Anyway, Plankton, you know, he's feeling depressed until, you know, he figures out a new plan, Plan Z, you know, and it's diabolical. Anyway, SpongeBob makes a fool of himself, and he realizes he's not getting the job because he's a kid. Therefore, SpongeBob is ready for disappointment. Him and his friend Patrick, you know, they head off to the Goofy Goober restaurant, and they get drunk off of ice cream. Anyway, we get introduced to King Neptune, who does not look like his previous show encounter, but apparently he's called King Neptune. Apparently he has a certain problem that he's insecure about, and Plankton steals his crown, and he frames Mr. Krabs. Anyway, he goes to the restaurant, confronts Mr. Krabs, says he's gonna kill him, but SpongeBob comes in and honestly, he boned Mr. Krabs.
Well, I am 100% man, and this man has got something to say to you. There. I think I made my point.
Honestly, I feel like SpongeBob should have done that a long time ago. Neptune, you know, he basically uses trident, and he does. Honestly, this is my favorite joke in the movie.
The pants are on fire! The underwear's on fire! I'm on fire! Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so apparently his crown was taken to Shell City, and, well, you see, King Neptune, the reason why he's always so crazy and so love-struck with his own crown, you know, well, you see, it turns out he has a certain condition and he's very insecure about it, and therefore he doesn't really like to reveal it.
Oh, Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable. Bob!
My eyes! All right.
Man, I'm really showing a lot of clips from that scene, aren't I? Anyway, Patrick foolishly, gives them less days, and basically the deal is they go to Shell City, get the crown, and save Mr. Krabs, and that's basically your buddy road trip adventure. They go through many trials and errors. They go in a cool paddy wagon. That's basically like if the car from Good Burger was an actual burger that could still drive. Anyway, during that whole thing, Plankton steals the formula, and he steals the formula and he sells Krabby Patties. And I want you to remember this. All right. Anyway, and he gives away free chum helmets. And they're not just little trinkets. They're basically mind control helmets, which he uses to enslave the Keeny Bottom. In other words, he turns the Keeny Bottom, a peaceful town, into some kind of slave field where all the kind, gentle fish creatures in the town turn into mind-controlled zombies. And many trials and errors, facing a bounty hunter, giving inspirational words from a mermaid. Patrick and SpongeBob are both captured by a Cyclops that they were warned. They make it to Shell City, they find the crown, but they're put under a heat lamp, and they drown. They get dried up, and then they die. But then the tears of the Goofy Goobers set off the sprinkler alarms, bringing them back to life. And also making a dark theory saying that the SpongeBob and Patrick that we know in the show now are not the original OG SpongeBob. But I'm not getting into that. I figure you should just Google it yourself. Anyway, and all the other sea creatures come back to life, and they give the Cyclops dude a taste of his own medicine. And anyway, SpongeBob and Patrick are wondering how the hell do they get back, and they get introduced to David Hasselhoff, who offers them a ride. And why do I have a strange feeling the maker of this movie had some kind of weird crush on David Hasselhoff? Because the way how he shoots them back down to the sea was pretty weird. Anyway, they manage to get back the crown, but Plankton, he has a backup plan, and therefore he gives King Neptune a helmet, and when all hope seems lost, SpongeBob admits to his flaws, saying that he's a wingnut, a knucklehead expansitron, but most of all, he's a goofy goover, and with the power of rock and roll, the helmets are destroyed, everyone's free, Krabs is free, and Plankton, he's taken right to jail. And I just want to point this out. So let me get this straight. In the movie, Plankton, steals Neptune's crown, frames Mr. Krabs, and Mr. Krabs is given the death penalty, correct? So, and he was framed, by the way. And now look at Plankton, someone who actually did that, and while he was at it, he enslaved the Keeny Bottom. He enslaved the Keeny Bottom. And not just that, but he also mind-controlled the king. So, yeah. So I say horse shit on his whole, what his punishment should be. How become when Mr. Krabs is framed for stealing the crown, and when he's given the death penalty. But Plankton, who actually did it and enslaved the Keeny Bottom, he just goes to jail. I just find that absolute horse shit, that is. Oh, and anyway, back to the topic. SpongeBob is given the promotion of manager, and we get a cool credits played by Ocean Man, and about him being the manager. And that was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And I gotta say, it's still a good movie. I mean, it does have its flaws. I just pointed out one of them. I mean, I know why they couldn't kill off Plankton, because they need him for future seasons. But still, if I'm being honest here, I feel like this is where the series should have ended. Every loose hole is tied up, every loose end is untied, and basically everything's all sorted out. And SpongeBob was given the Krusty Krab manager. And another thing I want to point out actually is this. Like, discount Ariel, aka Princess Mindy, she's basically going to be the ruler of the sea soon, right? And here's the thing, she does help out a little bit throughout the movie. She stalls for SpongeBob and Patrick. She does give them words of encouragement. She gives them mermaid magic giving them mustaches and giving them words of inspiration. But outside of that, though, she barely does anything. When Plankton is taking over the city, her dad is being too much of a piss baby about his baldness, and she doesn't do anything about it when Plankton is taking over. When Plankton is taking over the Bikini Bottom, she doesn't do anything about it. I mean, I know why her dad is because he's being a massive baby about him being bald, but still, Mindy, she says that she's going to be the ruler of the sea. Then use that power. She may not be as big and powerful as her dad. Well, prove to him wrong, I say. That could have been a part of the movie. But no, she doesn't do it. Anyway, but all in all, outside of those little plot holes, I did love this movie. And let's just say this movie was dark, but still good enough to give to your 3-year-old anytime. Give it a 9 out of 10. Sponge Out of Water. I'm not gonna lie, when this movie first came out, I was hyped for it. I was hyped. We all know the reason why we were all hyped to see the SpongeBob characters in this movie. Basically them becoming CG beefcakes, I'm just saying, it was, really cool. Also, but let's just say this, though. All that stuff happens at the hour point, right? All that CG, all them eating beefcake with superpowers, all that stuff happens after an hour left, after the hour of the movie, right? Seriously, that's just, really disappointing that was. Instead, most of the movie's basically filler, but I'll get to that in a sec. So the movie starts with this pirate stealing this magical book where he can actually interact with the citizens of the Bikini Bottom, and Plankton trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula. Yeah, and here's what I wanted to talk about, actually. In the first movie, Plankton stole the Krabby Patty formula and sold the Krabby Patties. So, you're telling me he didn't read it? You're telling me he didn't open the bottle, took a look at the page inside of it, and didn't read what went into the thing, right? You're telling me that? What? Did he just put up the piece of paper in his wife Karen, and then boom, she knew the recipe? Then why don't you just ask her? I'm just saying, I feel like there's a weird thing with these movies, I have a feeling that none of these movies are canon. For one thing, we never see the Krusty Krab 2. Plankton is still trying to get the formula, even though he should already know it since he was selling Krabby Patties. I'm just saying, I feel like none of these movies are canon. Yeah, they exist in the SpongeBob world, but they don't come back later in the show. I probably don't watch SpongeBob as I used to, but still, I don't think any of the movies were brought up or referenced. For God's sakes, remember, King Neptune does not look like how he did in the show. Instead, they got a different dude to play a King Neptune, Anyway, the Krabby Patty formula, it disappears, it vanishes, and since they don't have the formula, and since the workers can't remember the recipe, the Bikini Bottom goes into anarchy, into the apocalypse. And most of the movie is just filler, okay? Most of the movie is just about SpongeBob and Plankton trying to become best friends and trying to clear their names about what happened to the formula. There's this whole time travel thing where they come across a space-time traveling dolphin named Bubbles, that SpongeBob and Plankton get fired, but he comes back later in the story, and it's basically just filler. The rest of the movie is just filler. Up to the hour point, that's when we see SpongeBob and the characters turn all CG, it's an hour left in the movie, it's an hour left in the movie, for God's sakes, in Hilda and the Mountain King, Hilda was basically a troll for most of the movie, and that was the idea. We knew that Hilda was going to turn back to human, we knew that it was going to take most of the movie. For God's sakes, if Hilda just transformed halfway back into the movie, there'd be no need to continue the story. At least with that, I understood, You know, like Hilda spending the entire movie trying to get back to being a human. That was the idea of the movie, you know? But here, it takes us a whole hour this before we can see these guys, which, by the way, the poster promised us we would see, you know? Like Sponge Out of Water, more like Sponge Out of Water after the hour point, you know? Oh, and even then, there's still credits. There's a little thing I want to show you later, and you know, and then like a few minutes of filler later, that's when we see them turning to the beefcake posters, you know. Anyway, they go through a really cool fight, which about time. And you know, Plankton steps in.
Where do you think you're going?
Why don't you get going, little fella, before you hurt yourself?
Dang, Plankton!
It's Plankton!
So, yeah, Plankton, or should I say Plankton, and, you know, he managed to also become a giant-ass beefcake, and he manages to get the formula back from the pirate, you know, and, you know, he basically gives it to Mr. Krabs, realizing that friendship is more important than money. And then later in the movie, after the movie, he disguises himself as Gary and tries to steal the formula. So, Plankton's whole arc was pointless. But wait, there's more! Or, apparently, after when Plankton threw the captain, you know, he gets stuck in the sand, and apparently, he's the freaking pirate that starts off in every SpongeBob episode singing the main theme song. And they end off the movie with the seagulls singing it, and then, remember when I told you about Bubbles? Yeah, he comes back, and the seagulls and the dolphin do a rap battle together. And to quote a line from the pilot, from the pirate, knock it off, they're making the movie too long. Yeah, exactly. In other words, that's basically definition of filler. Like, he just comes out of nowhere saying he doesn't like the song, and then they end up having a rap battle, and then, you know, then they end the song by singing the theme song, and that's the end of the movie. And I gotta say, as a kid, I was hyped for Sponge Out of Water. You know, it looked exciting. It looked awesome. But instead, it was mostly just filler, you know? It was mostly just filler. I'd give it like a 6, maybe 7, I don't know. The point is, I'm mixed between 6 and 7 out of 10, okay? At least the movie did promise us the poster, but it only took us like an hour, and even then we had to go through a bunch of this and that, and just most of the movie was just filler. The movie was just filler. Or what about Sponge on the Run? Now, Sponge on the Run honestly did a lot better than the second one. I mean, I'm just gonna say this. It does copy a lot from the first SpongeBob movie, and that being, you know, it's about, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, it does actually bring up the first movie, like it brings up the Goofy Goober restaurant, you know. Oh, anyway, but instead of about a king, you know, losing his crown and Krabs getting framed, instead it's about the love between SpongeBob and his pet snail Gary, you know, who's been best friends since little kids. Apparently, his entire movie was just a way to promote the Camp Coral prequel series about SpongeBob as a kid. Anyway, a Plankton, you know, wanted to get the formula. He takes Gary to King Trident, and a king who's also posh and, you know, self-absorbed. And when he sees a tiny wrinkle that no one can see, he pulls a tantrum and he wants a snail because he uses snail slime as face cream as a facelift, right? But when the snails are all dried out, dude, have you ever thought of maybe like if you need snails to make yourself a facelift, correct? And you need the slime, and if they run out, you can't just put them into slave labor. Why not do a snail breeding thing, like breed snails? That way, when, you know, I mean, he doesn't do that, but still, I'm just saying, if your goal is to get snail slime, then what? And with all the snails that you have, I'm just saying, then why don't you do like a snail breeding thing? You know, make the snails and therefore all the newborn snails, wait for them to get a little older, and then, use their use their slime as facelift, and when they run out, then the cycle can continue, you know what I mean? I mean, at least it sounds better than what he does with the snails, Whatever. But whatever. Plankton kidnaps Gary, sends him to King Trident, and just so he can get rid of SpongeBob so he can have the formula. Anyway, the movie is basically like the first one. And hell, even they bring back the patty wagon, They bring back the patty wagon, So maybe this movie is a prequel to the first SpongeBob movie, even though we don't see the Krusty Krab 2. Anyway, this movie does copy a lot from the first one. I mean, mostly buddy road trip. They're trying to save something from someone, and they have to face with a king, and all this because Plankton wanted to steal the formula. Oh, they go through many stuff that is a little filler, but not too much. We meet cameo of the movie. Keanu Reeves in the movie as Sage. He is a sage, and he's made out of a sage, so it works well. Anyway, they go to the lost city of Atlantic City, where they all get, wasted off their mind. They confront King Trident, and then they're sentenced to death for trying to steal his snail. It's SpongeBob's snail. And so, therefore, SpongeBob and his friends come in, step in, defend for him, and then we get a little retcon. Apparently, Sandy and SpongeBob met at Camp Coral, even though they met when in the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, in the very first one of the very first episodes of SpongeBob, that's how Sandy and SpongeBob met. They didn't meet when they were kids. What did Sandy accidentally create a memory forgetting ray and accidentally used it on her and SpongeBob, and therefore, or that's how they met a second time? Whatever. It's kind of a retcon, a huge retcon. This is why I think each of the movies are non-canon to the SpongeBob series, and they take place in separate universes. You can tell because the animation's a lot better, so there's that. Anyway, they sing a song, in my opinion, the best SpongeBob movie out of all. This best SpongeBob song in history. The Secret to the Formula. Anyway, they managed to get out of there. And King Trident has his army. But instead he wants to thank them and for giving him such an adrenaline rush, Oh, he said he will let them all go if he gives them Gary. But SpongeBob, he sticks with his balls, saying, hey, Gary's my best friend, I'm not letting you have him. And then he's all like, I have plenty of friends. And then when he realizes he doesn't have any friends, it's like, ouch, and then he's upset about it. But then SpongeBob, being the kind soul that he is offers to be King Trident's friend. He doesn't, so long as he doesn't steal Gary from him. And King Trident feeling relieved. But he tells him about his whole condition about having a wrinkle. And then SpongeBob tells him, dude, just because you got a tiny wrinkle doesn't mean you're hideous, dude. Everyone has them. You're fine the way you are, dude. Be yourself. All right, calm down. And King Trident being touched by SpongeBob's words, he does more than just accept his wrinkle. Apparently, he does not look like this. He looks like this. And he looks all right. So he looks fine. So don't make fun of him and all that. So he accepts SpongeBob's friend offer and chooses his real look, and he lets all the snails go. Oh, and the Bikini Bottom becomes more snail populated. And that was Sponge on the Run, and I gotta say, it was a lot better than the second one. Yeah, sure, the story was basically copying traits from the first SpongeBob movie, but hey, at least it didn't have filler for most of the movie. So there's that. And the animation, oh my god, the animation was awesome, and and the song Secret to the Formula, best song in the series, that is, best song in the series. Oh, and I do like the message that it has at the end. Be yourself. Don't let one tiny wrinkle think that you're hideous or something like that. That's something that King Neptune should have learned. He should have just accepted his baldness, and just even if his baldness was so powerful it made a fish's eyes melt, but still he should have just accepted it. So yeah, I give the movie an 8 out of 10. It's a lot better. Anyway. So yeah, and I want to just personally say thank you for 1,000 subscribers. Oh, but here's something that I learned actually. My friends don't have that many subscribers as me. I mean, one of them has more than I do, but still, the other ones don't. So even though I don't do this anymore, still, I'm gonna do this just this once for my friends. I may have 1,000 subscribers now, but these guys don't. So go check out my friend's channel. These guys are very good to me. They're very important to me. They're my good friends. They're my good, they're my good friends, and they're my business partners. And their channels are awesome, and you should go check them out, okay? Go check out Mixel Time with Emil, Taurine Smith Party, Michael's Gaming Show, and there's another channel. Well, go check out his channel too. They're all awesome, they're all fantastic, and they're my friends. So please go to their channel, subscribe to them, make sure they get at just amount as numbers as me, maybe even more, Oh, because I'm just saying they deserve a lot of credit too. Okay, they deserve subscribers too. So please go check out my friend. Go check out my friend's channel. Okay, go check him out, please. Go check him out. This is the F-Man Critic telling you to like, subscribe, hit the notification, and thank you once again. See ya.